Hey, my name's shawnshawn. I sell art on shawnshawn.co, and today we're going to review Alpay Efe. He's from Germany, and he has a YouTube channel that does pretty well, so let's check it out. Let's plug it in first. I swear I'm not a Virgin mic plugger. I know where the hole is. Alright, so this particular video is about a paint squeezer, so let's check it out.
It's time we talk about what might be the best painting tool on the planet. Some of you, I'm sure, already know what this unassuming piece of equipment is for. But if this is new to you, you are in for a treat. Because by the end of the video, I have a feeling you will agree with me that this is the one tool every artist needs to have. Forget about painting mediums, forget about palette knives or any other tools or gadgets.
So one of the cool things about this video is he just has a really quick product entry and product introduction. He just has it straight square in the middle of the screen, and now he's zoomed in, so he's got a lot of different camera angles to really build up the momentum of the story. This is shot probably on at least a 50, but it might be a 70mm with that really high bokeh in the background. So it's a really nice kind of product build by using a lot of B-roll to build up the suspense. So let's keep going.
To the tube bringer. This clumsy looking device here is one of those things you'd think every artist that uses paint would be familiar with, but over the years I've noticed that many people aren't. So we gotta do something about that. Because if you do—
Yeah, so I didn't know about this tool either for, I don't know, like 8 years maybe. And I worked at an artist studio. It's like, how can people not have this tool where you're just like not wasting paint? You literally like spend so much money on paint. Let's skip ahead here to the demo. So you can see it's a really good product demonstration, how it works. You obviously get a lot more paint out of your tubes. Highly recommend it. I have my own video on this as well. This is a pretty good demo here. Let's go ahead a little bit.
Another tube. It saves you money, saves you space, and it also is more environmentally friendly because you have less waste. And if you like to have all your things neat and orderly, well, it helps with that too.
So really good visuals again with the paint zoom in and different camera angles.
This is seriously such a brilliant invention. I would consider it just as essential as brushes for every artist.
I'll just skip the rest of this. I think the rest, you probably could have cut it short here. I don't think you need more than a quick explanation of what a paint scrubber is. Obviously it's great because then people can watch it longer, but I don't mind. I just make it really quick and short. So that's kind of how I think it should be, but maybe not what you really would do. You probably squeeze it out as long as possible, but I don't think you really need to squeeze it out longer than that. All right, so this is the top 5 tips every artist should know. So let's check it out.
I've recently been thinking a lot about my journey to becoming an artist. While cleaning up the studio, I came across some old drawings and paintings that have reminded me how difficult it sometimes was.
So one thing I'll notice right off the bat as well, he has a really good sound audio. He's probably using something like this foam board in the background to make the sound very rich. That'll soften, it'll get rid of all the echo. So if you always record it with this kind of, sound material, or if you don't, you can just use like say an iPhone and then wrap it with say a sweater around the microphone, and that'll really soften the sound. That'll really help a lot. But yeah, you definitely want to use this stuff to get a really rich, soft sound, or use curtains around you if you have to. That will also neutralize the sound bounce back and forth, and you'll get a rich sound for your video and make it's one of the more crucial videos even over the visual.
Got me thinking, because it didn't have to be that way. If only I had known some things. Things that would have made my life less frustrating and a whole lot easier. So I thought today I'd share some things I wish I had known when I started my journey with you. And while we're doing that, you can watch me paint a small portrait onto a handmade gesso panel. So sit back, grab yourself a warm beverage or something to draw or paint along. And here are 5 things I wish I had known as a beginner artist. You need to dedicate time to your craft. A lot of time. Consistency and dedication trump inspiration almost all the time. Instead of waiting for creativity to strike, the more you practice and build an arsenal of creative skills and ideas, the more intuitive the process becomes. And the less you have—
Yeah, so this is one of the crucial mistakes you'll make when you start painting And you'll see this a lot on art forums. People will be like, oh, I'm not inspired. What do I paint? How do I paint? It's like, just put paint on the painting. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Just keep hitting the canvas. And the basic practice will get you to learn how to paint more realism, more abstract, the colors, composition, etc. Just do painting exercises. Just paint mechanically. And worry about inspiration later. Once you master those skill sets, it won't matter. You can just be like, oh, I'll paint a face today. I don't feel in a good mood. Doesn't matter. Just start painting. And once you have that skill set built, you're going to naturally paint a good painting, whether you feel like it or not. And it doesn't really matter if you're inspiration. Another thing is when you do have inspiration, take your phone, write it all down, all your ideas. I have an art diary for all my art ideas on my phone. So when I'm now feeling inspired, I just pull it up. Boom. Oh, let's paint this. I forgot about this idea. Oh, I forgot about that. That's a great idea. Oh, I forgot about that. That's a great idea. And if you know how to do composition, colors, color mixing, all that stuff, you can just, say you want to paint a bridge. You just, oh, I paint a bridge. I want to have this line. I'm going to use the 2/3 rule. I'm going to use the golden ratio, blah, 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 blah. Use the light to dark ratio. That's correct. And all those ideas are going to make you a great painting, even if you're in a crappy mood, right? So let's keep going.
You have to rely on inspiration to strike. You can be creative no matter your mood.
Here's another
Good
one.
old artistic ego. And believe it or not, I'm speaking from experience. I was the equivalent of a teenager who starts working out for the first time and then tries to show that to the entire world by wearing the tightest shirt possible at every occasion, even in the freezing cold of winter. Pure cringe. I thought I was this great artist that had everything figured out already. And of course I had nothing figured out. Nobody could really teach me anything unless they were better than me, but then I thought basically everyone didn't know.
So there's a little bit of problem with this video. It's really well recorded, but he's done the sound volume off where the volume of the music is higher than the voice. I don't know why you would do that. He probably thought of the sound and he just didn't check it. So you always want to check your sound volume comparison across your different sound mixes. You might have your music, you might have sound effects, and then you'll have the voice. So always check that, and I always spot check all the way through a video. Every single cut, I'll go and play a sample, play a sample, play a sample, and you might have to, maybe you have 100 cuts in a video, so you do a little quick 100 samples across your sound when the sound varies, and you can always get rid of this issue. This is a major issue in this video, at this section of the video. Unfortunately, he's just overdone the volume on the music versus the sound, so you don't really know what he's saying too well.
What they were talking about. What a fool I was. Or maybe just a regular teenager, I don't know. In any case, looking back at my teenage self,
next part. He's talking about ego here.
16, 17, 18 here, exhibition, building a website, starting a podcast, writing a book, starting a business, a YouTube channel, you name it. If I waited till I could properly speak English and be good at video editing before I started the YouTube channel, I would...
So this is a great point, and he's a really perfectionist artist, so it's amazing. He can paint this well, but he's also self-critiquing in the sense that a lot of artists will not do something because they're not perfect at it. Like they won't do, say, this YouTube video because they don't know the camera setup like I do. But you can just start with your iPhone. My first, I don't know, maybe 20 videos I recorded straight off the iPhone. Not even this is like an iPhone 7. I started with an iPhone 4. Even the quality off the iPhone 4 is pretty good. Even today, it's still like 1080. I think the newer iPhone's probably 4K. But really, you just need a 1080 phone. I mean, this camera here is only 1080. It's not a 4K camera. It looks fine. It looks good enough even on a huge big screen. For art, you kind of probably want to get into 4K, but you can really just start where you're at. Start with an iPhone, a simple camera. Any kind of PDA phone is going to shoot that. That's, made after 2005. So no real excuses to get started.
Still be waiting. This, of course, isn't just limited to artists and painters, but something every creative person who has something in them waiting to making a living from it, nor is it the hustle or struggle. Painting a portrait is easy. Learning to sculpt is easy. Learning any craft or acquiring any artistic skill is easy, at least comparatively. The hard thing about being an artist is the emotional attachment you have to your craft, and what I like to call the roller coaster. And here's what I mean by that. At the start of a project, you think to yourself, this is amazing. I'm a genius. This is going to be absolutely amazing. A couple of hours later, you think to yourself, this is the worst thing ever. Dumbest idea possible. I'm not only horrible.
Yeah, this is so true. Anytime you're painting a painting, you'll start off, you're like, you got this grand idea, and you start in almost every painting guaranteed in the middle of the painting, it's going to be like all muddy colors, looking like crap. You're like, it's not going to work out. And then at the end, somehow it gets through. So really, it's just being an artist is really being able to push through the crappy layers and then find and be able to have the skill set to get to the finer layers. Like he has obviously amazing skill set here in painting his portrait. So it's kind of funny having a really great artist that knows how to do a portrait this well talk about the challenge of being an artist.
Horrible, but I also hate everything. And the next day you come back with a fresh pair of eyes and you think to yourself, this actually is kind of amazing. Cool. Rinse and repeat. See,
so let's go ahead to the next part.
When I was young, who knows where I would be right now and what I could have achieved. Unfortunately, I needed to learn this lesson the hard way, and it took me a long time to wrap my head around this, but once I did, I not only became a better artist, but a better person, entrepreneur, basically a better version of myself. The math is easy. The more time you spend trying to become better at one thing, the less time you have to become better at another. For me it was painting, and in particular realism. That's what I obsessed over when I started my artistic career. Realism, realism, realism. But the thing I didn't realize back then is how much more valuable and useful it is to become good at many things, rather than becoming great at just one thing. Your time is so much better spent learning how to make movies, make dioramas, build websites, make furniture, run...
Yeah, so this is a really crucial thing, which they don't teach you in school, which is, I think, a huge flaw when I was studying art, is they only taught you the academic skill set, like they taught you the drawing, paint from the model, do landscape, paint hands, paint faces, which is really good kind of academic basis if you're going to do realistic portraits. I didn't really have any taste for portraits. I wanted to do abstract, so to me it was just a complete waste of time. And they don't focus on the marketing, which is highly crucial, like how to use this camera, how to use YouTube, how to do Instagram, how to do Facebook, how to meet in person, how to talk in person, how to do speeches. All of those are so crucial for having a successful art business versus just being an artist and creating great work, but then you don't know how to present it, you don't know where to show it, you don't know where to sell it, you don't know how to market it. I mean, those are huge flaws you have to master. So those are, like, I would say even better skill sets to learn. I totally agree with him on this, that you really need that marketing basis. That's 90% of the business. 10% is that little painting skill you have. You definitely want to be good at it. Obviously, he's mastered that. And, you know, probably that's not a bad basis to do 90% of your school is focus on getting really good and then getting the marketing. But the marketing is so crucial to be able to actually sell this. So let's move on to the next video. So I'll say right off the bat, this is a really cool way to start a painting tutorial. You actually kind of walk people up to the moment. In my personal videos, I'll show kind of, you know, hey, we're going to paint this painting today. And then I'll show them kind of the blank canvas, and then I'll show them the colors. And then I'll start the painting, right? So it kind of a little bit of prelim just adds that kind of build up of a story of here's the finished product to kind of hook them in, kind of here's the raw ingredients, and then boom, 90% of it is the painting. But you know, that little beginning I think adds a little something special. I really like the beginning of this. Let's skip ahead a little bit.
A crafting knife and a pencil to make a basic sketch before we start painting, which is exactly what I'm doing here. As you can see, no super detailed drawing,
you notice
just a simple sketch
much better to understand.
Get things off the ground and to have a place to start. Of course, no cloudy sky is complete without the moon, so after having sketched the clouds, I cut out a circular piece of tape that I used to mask off the moon. We now can completely forget about the moon and we don't have to paint around it anymore. And then it's time to get painting.
Yeah, this is a really smart technique to do the sun because it is hard to kind of craft it in perfectly at the very end. You can obviously make a bad circle. It looks like it looks totally sucky, right? So just to cut it perfect, you know, a perfect circle using a circle tool, like you have stencils that are plastic stencils that are perfectly round. You can just trace that out. You can cut it out. Obviously, there's a compass tool that you can use where you kind of pin and then circle around it with the blade, and that'll give you a perfect cut. I think that's the best technique. I haven't used it in the past, but I definitely should start using that because it looks way better. Right? It makes your clouds pop if the sun actually looks like a circle or the moon looks like a circle.
My composition is made up of 2 elements.
Let's go up ahead.
At this point, I don't even think about painting clouds, to be honest. The only thing I'm thinking
really cool he has his
and
dark
seeing
elements here.
is abstract shapes. Abstract shapes that I just put next to each other, which is exactly
Really
what you can see
color
here.
range here.
An
Not
orange
super
abstract
realistic with the
shape
dark,
next to a
clouds,
purple
but
abstract shape, and so on. I know
it really pops for
this
the
can be
eye,
frustrating
I'd say.
because it takes a while until everything comes together, and during most of the process, it usually will look like you totally failed, but trust me, you're not going to fail.
Yeah,
The
that's
payoff
totally
in the
true with
end
clouds.
will be so worth it. You just gotta trust in the process. When you
Let's skip ahead.
As a matter of fact, I've only used oil paints from Michael Harding for this painting. Full disclosure, but Brilliant Pink is one of the most beautiful and intense pink colors I've used. And you will
Really nice
see what I
detail
mean
shot
in
here.
just a bit. For all of you that are curious, I'll have a list of all the colors that I've used for this painting in the description below. So at the beginning of the second session, I go right back to where we started, and I adjust the bright areas of the clouds. Since we've already established a foundation, we luckily don't have to do too much here. And from this point on, things will start to come together pretty quickly. We also don't need to paint over everything here. Instead, we just adjust what's necessary, which usually
That's true.
means making slight corrections to the contrast and cleaning up the edges.
Yeah,
And
that
what I
helps
like
just
to
kind
do
of
here is to use glazes in
dial it
order
in a
to
little bit.
lighten up everything that's
Let's just keep going. So he's doing the sky again, of course.
Okay.
That makes sense. He's got great brush control. These ads
And
kill
with
me.
that done, all that's left to do is to finally reap the rewards of our patience and to peel off the masking
Super juicy
tape.
with the reds underneath the clouds like that. And not realistic clouds.
And
but
that,
man,
friends,
those colors pop. The
is
purple next to
how
the
you
peach like
paint
that.
clouds.
Super
Well,
juicy.
At least that's how I paint them. Who doesn't like a good glowing effect? This, of course, is just an exclusive.
Yeah, it's really good. Just looks like this fury explosion, and it doesn't have that realistic clouds. Really, clouds are really kind of blue to white, gray, with a little bit of warmth here and there to kind of mix it up. But it really doesn't have dark purple like that. But it would in a storm cloud, so it's kind of like you're kind of play with that. But man, those colors just pop. Really great painting here. So yeah, that's Alpay Efe from Germany. It's interesting because if you go to his website, it's kind of like that traditional professional website where you got like artist bio, painting contact, no prices, kind of that classic gallery look, and then you have to contact them, which I don't agree with. I don't know why people don't just post their prices, and then you can, they know right away. They don't have to ask you, because that creates buyer friction. But a lot of artists, especially at the high end where they're working a lot with galleries, they have this traditional approach where the gallery does the sales and they do kind of just focus on the art, which you can totally do. I don't know how it's working during COVID. If you're not selling direct, you're kind of screwed because all those galleries are closed, kind of. But yeah, I mean, I think this guy really knows what he's talking about. It doesn't have too many YouTube videos, but if you're at this high quality level of your artwork, you're immediately gonna just boom, click with the market. Obviously knows what he's doing with oil painting, portraits, landscapes. He's really got that kind of dialed in. As he said earlier in this video, he's a perfectionist before, and then he kind of broadened out his marketing skill set to be able to actually market the art. So you definitely want to kind of, that's not a bad career path, is really master the academic level, color, composition, figure, landscape. And then once you got that you got a good basis, definitely master your marketing skills, because that's going to hold you back if you don't know the marketing. A lot of artists, I totally see, even myself, I don't think I have all the marketing kind of dialed in quite right, and you can always learn more. So definitely, broaden out your marketing skill set. That'll make you much more successful, even at a lower quality level, just because, people find you versus they don't find someone that's even better than you just because they do worse marketing. So that's my take on Alpay Efe. I think he definitely has some really good painting tutorials, very high quality video, sound auditing, except for that one video the sound was off a little bit, but you know, very nice soft speaking, soft sound, well-rounded. And yeah, go check him out. I'd highly recommend him, and hopefully you guys check out my website too. Thanks for watching, guys.